Hey guys, so originally this was going to be a talk on domain-driven design, since my PHP ORM version 3 is going to come out soon and it's going to be very easy to model in a DDD style wizard. But then I decided I'm going to do something more fun, and this is going to become the first episode of my dev stories, which is going to be a series where I recall some of stuff that happened to me in my development years, and hopefully it's going to be some fun. So today we're going to talk about interviews and getting a job and recruitment process. So I've done a lot of interviews in my life. I've actually been on both sides of those a lot, and I'm gonna start it with a story that was like I think my first ever interview for like a developer position. And this was like I was still in the university. I think it was like either a second or a third year, and I haven't been like specialized web dev back then. I did some web development. I even ran a few sites, but I've done some other work too, and I was open to pretty much everything. So I actually wasn't looking for a job at that point. It was just that me and my friends decided it would be fun to try out working as an actual developer. Um, so we found this random poster in the uni of a company looking for a few C++ devs, and I don't remember what the company was doing right now, but what I do remember is that had pretty low expectations when we came in. So the questions they asked us were pretty basic. I think it was just like some inheritance thing, some destructor thing, like basic stuff, basic OP stuff. Um, and even then, I almost wanted to tell them, like, guys, you could ask us more. Um, but what actually happened is it gave us a test task, like all of us, each of us has to do it individually, but the test task was actually was pretty good. Like you would have to make a graphical application where a user could like select an Excel file and you would show some statistics from it and stuff like that. Um, took me I think about 3 hours to do. Yeah, exactly. I think like um. So the next day I put it on a flash drive. I bring it to them. They look at it and they think it's okay, and then they go like to a back room to talk. So they come out in like 5 minutes, and I'm thinking I'm probably getting an offer, because. But what they're actually saying is, all right. So we tried googling it, like the actual solution, and they couldn't find it. But it looks like you didn't do it yourself. So where did you get it from? I'm like, seriously, guys, I did it. It's my work. And they're like, yeah, but you probably and they don't believe me. Like I can see it in their faces. Like they are this close from like telling me I'm a fucking liar. So but they try to sugarcoat it. They say like, well, you probably had some help on some forum, or you like asked on the website. Yes, maybe you could have some help with the APIs. I'm like, no, guys, I seriously, I just read the docs and did it. And they don't believe me. Like, no. So it took some convincing, and they said they would call me in a week, and they did. And I didn't take up the offer because I said I wasn't actually looking for work. I wasn't pressed for money or stuff like that. And like the team didn't seem like a fun place to work in. And that actually became a very running theme later on. Was like I never wanted to work in a company that during the interview would show that it has absolutely either no trust or doesn't care for the developer, and that's actually what I recommend that you guys do too. It's like, because those are the people that you're gonna be seeing all day, and you just can't afford to like be wasting your time on people that like don't appreciate your work. So, but that wasn't like the fun stuff. The fun stuff started later when I actually got into web development. And one of the jobs I'm looking at the moment was of online gaming. Like they basically were doing different kinds of online games, and like being a student and still playing a lot of games on my computer, I that kind of very nice vibe in me. I always wanted to do some gaming stuff. So I come to the interview, it's pretty okay, like they ask normal stuff, and then they're like, all right, but we're gonna have a test project for you. I'm like, sure, sure. I've done some of those. And you'll never guess what they wanted me to do. They wanted me to implement online poker. It doesn't have to be designed really nice, but it has to work. Just making online poker work. Oh, with multiplayer and bots. Like, do you know how much fucking work that is? Like, I don't even know how to play poker. Like, combinations and stuff like that. Like, how would I know how to program a poker bot without, like, at least an hour of research in, like, poker strategy? And and they tried to motivate me saying that this is interesting. I'm like, yes, sure, this is interesting. Just like pay me. Like, I mean, if they would offer to pay me for like this test task, like, cause it's like really like if you get like 20 devs doing such test tasks for you, why would you need to hire people? Just put a skin on it and like get a guy who make it like fix some errors and you're done. So yeah, that kind of killed it for me right there. And especially at the same time, I was doing some other. Also had like other test tasks to do for this other company, which was much more normal. So I can't really find a nice spot to be talking at 3 a.m. Um. So yeah, that was pretty weird. Like implementing a full fucking poker. Like I don't even know when like where do I start? Like just like if they said like implement multiplayer, I maybe I'd even done this at that point. Like, fucking bots, bullshit. All right, yeah, that was stupid. So then there was this other thing later on. Oh no, there was about a year from that point. I was like yeah, I got an email from a CEO of another company that kind of noticed me when we were doing some hackathon or not a hackathon, like an internship scholarship program. Hackathon was a different thing. And the email was like, we offered this much money. These are your career options. Like, if it's okay, come tomorrow, bring some ID. And I came. No more questions were asked since then. This was like the fastest interview I have ever had in my entire life, and I really enjoyed my time in this company. I stayed with them for like 2 years, um, and like everything was awesome. Like the fastest interview ever, and the guy just put so much trust in like individual devs, and actually the other guy that came into the same team at the same time was also like instantly hired, and that was just awesome. And somehow the CEO had this, like a lot of people were insta hired by him, and almost all of them were really good. So I don't know what kind of divination did he use to like hire them, and like what did he lace those emails with, but like the teams were awesome. That I remember, like there was not a single dick inside. So yeah, but and the next story is actually me quitting that company and going to work for another one and then staying back because I kind of got through like a senior position and then I was looking for like a team to lead, and so I'm getting like you should like an opening for team lead for like a Python thing for a Python team that would be like for developers hired later on. And I'm like, okay, I done some Python, and I've been like, I obviously have some lead experience at that point, so I'm like, it might work. So I spent like 2 days like reading up on Python and like crazy shit you can do, like meta classes and stuff like that. Just like meta classes are the shit in Python. Like I have no idea if there are legitimate users of the thing, but this is fucking like in runtime through reflection, natural you can just change the inheritance tree of a class, which is like, why would you ever, like, I can't think, like, why would you need that? But apparently, like, Python. It's like, I was reading through the docs and I was doing this, like, I would chop the hands of the first person who actually used that in, like, any serious code. But, like, yeah. And yeah, I got there and the interviewer was like, you know what, we currently in the company we don't know anyone who knows Python though, so yeah, I'm just gonna Google some tasks and just do those for me, and I guess you'll do. That was cool. So pretty much, and then like the interviewer kind of immediately admitted that they have no idea what they're gonna be asking me about. Like he was just like, yeah, like just sound credible, I guess. And that's what I did. And I kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't end up getting like, not getting, I got the offer, but I didn't end up actually taking up on it for some reason. I don't remember why. But that was really cool. Like, yeah, I'm gonna interview you. I have no idea what I'm gonna ask you. I'm just gonna Google some questions, like right now, and you're just gonna answer them, and I'm gonna match those. So but I like that they came clean on that, and because like if the guy was just doing that and he didn't tell me this beforehand, I was just saying this is just massive dickery. So actually, yeah, this reminds me of some other a different story. Was me uh, applying for a mid PHP developer sometime before the previous one, like a few years. So the first part is pretty okay. This is gonna be a really fun one. So the first part was really okay. Some guys asked me some stuff on JavaScript, so then the other guy came, asks me stuff on PHP, but he asked such stupid questions like the fifth parameter to some function and stuff. Like just by a chance of luck, I used that function just like a day ago. That was I think reg split, and I'm like, why would I know that? And then he was like, is it okay to use a closing tag in a class file in PHP? And I'm like, if you want to, you don't have to, but like, and then he like, for some reason, started like a holy war that you have to never, ever, ever include a closing tag. And like, if you don't put stuff after it, guess it's okay. Then I had to agree with him just to like rub him the right way. But okay. Even though I actually never used the closing tag in class files, but I just had to, stand, fight for the right of those people who would use the closing tag. And then the recruiter comes to me and he says, you've been doing pretty good at this point, but like the lead of this team is like a very kind of a very a prince. She's on principles he lives on, I guess. And so she's like, the most important thing for him is for people to be interested. So you just have to tell him that you're very interested in web development. And I'm like, are you cheating? Like, I didn't tell this out loud, but basically, yes, the recruiter was cheating because probably she gets like money for successful recruits. So she saw me as a nice opportunity to get some cash, and she actually wanted me to get through the interview. But in terms of like company politics policies, she was cheating. So I come to the guy and he asks me some UML stuff, and I'm pretty good at it. And then I start spamming the word interesting. So pretty much, I think I overdid it even a bit, because I like the density was about 20% of stuff I said was interesting. Like I didn't do Java because it's not just is it interesting for me. It's very strict, especially strict type, and you can't do that much interesting stuff as you could do in PHP. That's why I find PHP sorry, a much more interesting language, and the interest is was most interesting to me. Like I'm not even kidding. I just spammed it. So 10 minutes pass, and the guy is like, I pride myself of being a psychologist because I read a lot of books on the subject. And then he's like this, like 5 minutes of how good a psychologist he is. And now he just by looking at my personality, he can tell that for me, interest is very important and that I'm very interested in programming. And I'm like, no shit. Like, that's like Sigmund Freud reincarnated. Like, I spent 20 minutes spamming the word interesting in your face, and you're like if you couldn't see through that, you're like immediately like, but like you're making assumptions based on keyboard spam. Like you're the worst search engine ever. So, and I got an offer, but it was on the margin. I did a huge mistake of actually telling my current salary. So the offer was they added like 15% on top, and I was kind of hoping for more. But I was thinking I would leave the company still, but I didn't know how to leave the old. I would go to work for them still, but I didn't know how to leave the old company because I wanted to leave it anyway. And I knew the CEO would have this talk with me, and if I told him that like the counter or the offer I got was like 15% higher, he would immediately offer me like 20, you know. Um, so I wanted to avoid all the haggling and stuff. So when talking to him, I actually told them that they offered me like a 50% raise of what I currently had, and the guy is like, "Oh yeah, I can beat that. Like I'll give you an 80% raise," and I stayed. Like so, basically, imagine this: like I got an 80% raise in one day just by trying to be polite, I guess. So I declined the offer and got my 80% raise. Damn, this was like I wish this would happen to me today. That was truly awesome. It was like I flew home on the wings of happiness. Um, Another thing that happened to me about the just before that, but I think I was looking for like a senior position. That was after that. I don't remember my stories in chronological order. Pretty much, it's a short one. They pretty much gave me a sheet of paper with 15 tasks, and I was to select three of those, any three I liked, do them, and they would come check in like an hour and a half, or I could call them earlier. So I select the three easiest ones, and like the difficulty was all over the place. So there was like reverse string, and there was like find the most optimal route through some whatever like grid, which was like, and you had to code it on a sheet of paper. So I don't know even if that problem would fit on like a sheet of paper. Was the A star illustrations shit going on? So I selected the three simpler ones, and one of those was like implementing like any sort. And I'm like, okay, fuck bubble sort. I actually could implement any other. Just for funsies, I wanted to do like something really hectic, like radix, just to fuck with them. But like, then I'm like, I have shit to do. So I started writing bubbles for like first two lines, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm not even thinking about it. So I take up my phone, which they didn't take for like they allowed me to use it so that I could call them. So I pretty much Googled bubble sort in PHP, retyped that, and then I think the second thing was fizzbuzz. I'm like I did it 1,000 times, like not even gonna think about fizzbuzz in PHP. Google, retype it. And the last one was the Stringverse of Sarah. Like so, it took me I think like 10 minutes in total. I called the lady. She comes back and like do you have a problem? Like I'm done. She's like, well, you still have time. Maybe you can do a harder task. I'm like, why? You said any three. Like it sounds like I wasn't trying to be a dick, but I wasn't really. Mostly it was my lunch break in the company that I was working in at the same time, and I wouldn't want to be late. So I was like, I don't really have like an hour to like write on a sheet of paper like A-star search. So like, sorry. Um, and yeah, I got the offer and I rejected it. I guess I was rejecting more offers than I was rejected to. So it probably makes me a very snobby person. But I usually like when I was working on something, I worked overtime just like because I wanted to have stuff done, and I wanted to have I to care about the project sort of. And like when I saw that like I would be working with people that I didn't like, I would never take a job like that. And actually, I'd recommend you guys not doing that either. Um, so these stories are gonna be a bit more recent. Um, those were like remote interviews that I got. So one was um, pretty much asked me two questions on Skype and then sent me a doc file with 25 questions in it that I was supposed to fill in. So like the questions are like easily Googleable, so I have no point. Like it would take like the most like you could take any person who's not even seen web development and he would answer half of those just by using Google. But like it's just busy work because there were a lot of those. So like took me I think about 2 hours to fill the stupid document. There were like some good questions, but not much of those. Mm. So like in total, I spent like 2 hours 15 minutes just on that company, and then they called me on Skype again, said it's okay, but they thought I was like a mid-level guy, and I was actually looking for like a senior or whatever position. So and they don't need that kind of guy because they have those, and they're like, oh, like maybe if you're still interested, just gonna like I'm like, all right, I don't care how you call it, just like the money's okay. And they're like, no, 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 since it's a mid position, I'm gonna slice it. And I'm like you wasted so much of my time. And I actually told them that, like, like I spent like 2 fucking hours like filling. And the guy is like, yeah, yeah, sorry about that. Just said we have so many applicants. And then I, I, I'm thinking like, maybe I should continue talking. Like, I can like bargain, whatever. Because the site I think was like somewhat nice. I actually wanted to work for them. It was a really big, so like well-known site. And then they're like, "Well, we already see that you're not very interested in it, so yeah, I have shit to do. Bye." Like so, they actually even ended that in a dick move, and I was so angry as fuck. This is the worst interview I ever had, and it's like, it's surprising because you would think you would get like the worst interviews in like shady small companies, but fuck to the like the worst interview ever. Like this is the most impersonal touch, and like I it said that I was looking for a lead position in my CV and stuff, so they either didn't bother or just thought like, hey, it just takes 2 seconds for us to send this guy the doc file. Like, well, why not? Fuck his time. So Yeah, that was really a dick move. Um, and the last one's pretty fun. The last one is like the amazing story of a company that was looking for a PHP developer, and then it kind of they said they want me like to also be like a front end dev, so they quizzed me in like JavaScript and stuff. In PHP, I did that. And that was okay. And then they're like, well, we have some test tasks, but so that you don't cheat, you'll have to share screen while you do those. So no pressure. I'm like, okay. So the first thing was like implementing some web client, some REST client in the like JavaScript for like the front end, and but I couldn't use any library. And like the last time I used raw XML HTTP request in a browser was like 4 years ago, I guess. I've been using like jQuery over Terror that was available, like XJS I used a lot, but like, never I had to do a raw request. I knew the API somehow still, but and then I remembered I knew the site that was pretty like you do need jQuery, which was like a jQuery snippet and an equivalent plain JavaScript snippet. So I just opened the site and half the screen and just sync in jQuery, but copy snippets from there. So I did the client pretty fast, and the guy looking at it couldn't find any problem with it, but he really didn't. He thought that I was cheating by using the snippet thing. I'm like really, I even if I was just googling those things separately, if I can just instantly come up with like the XML HTTP request API, I should be happy enough. But then the fun part starts. So then he says that I also have to know Node.js. Do I know Node.js? I read a tutorial at some point, but I was like never tried it. But I like how hard could it be? Like just a different API or whatever. And I'm like, sure, I had some experience. He's like, cool. So next task is making a server for this, in like Node.js. I'm like, fuck, what do I do now? Like, I whip out my phone, I put it next to the screen, and I Google Node.js tutorial. So then I say like, I don't have Node.js on the computer right now, which was true because I never wanted to have it. So while I installed Node.js and he was looking at the screen, I'm reading the stupid tutorial on the phone. And it was like the thing I was like the server was that he was looking for was like it actually fit in the scope of the tutorial plus some MySQL query stuff like that. So I actually managed to do it. And when he would like ask me stuff, so basically I tried stalling. I tried asking like, what does this part of the question mean? And while like he would answer that, I was just reading through the tutorial to like think the next lines of code I had to write, and actually passed that. That was really nice. That I never thought this would work, but did. And it's kind of stupid. Like I like when they give you tasks for home, and as I said, to do at home, and as I said, like they kind of are afraid of you cheating, but like if you don't have that much trust in the developer, you shouldn't really be talking to that guy. And if the company doesn't have that much trust in you, you shouldn't be talking to that company. And what sucks is even after I got like a shit ton of certifications, like getting the I didn't even know how it's called, Zen Certified PHP 5.3 certificate, and I won like Brainbench games in some category last year. It was web design, got most points. Yeah, and after that, and I'm just like showing this to people, and then they still ask me things like, what is a constructor? And I'm like, No, oh, fuck this. I remember. You know what was the most stupid thing for online? When I showed them my Peach Pixie, and I'm like, if you want to see my code, look at Peach Pixie. I'm committing to this shit every day. I'm actually like working every day on it. So like, if you want to see like, and I'm trying to make it like 100% covered. Like, I'm really working hard of making it good. Like, look at it, please. You know what they said? Like, this is going to fucking blow your mind. Like, how do we know it's yours? Ah, it's on my GitHub profile. Yes, but how do we know you didn't steal the code and put it in your GitHub profile? Like, it has like 300 stars. I wrote all the docs. So I couldn't like, even though I have a website for PHPixie, it was a fucking forum where everywhere there's my avatar and all the posts are by Drakony. They wouldn't believe that it's like, this all must be some scam just to get into their. So stupid. Like, I don't know who those assholes were, but this is like, just like, one face palm is not enough. So the last story is not really fun, but I just kind of remember it. It was that was also before. I was also looking for a lead position, and I got through the technical interview pretty quick. And but what was left was like, for 2 hours they would ask me, six people sitting around me on the table would ask me like stuff about um how would you estimate what is the amount of cars in the city, and like those random like highly philosophical questions that like have nothing to do with sport, like nothing. So pretty much it would be maybe something you would ask a salesperson, maybe an account, because it was mostly about like risk mitigation. But like, I'm not, I'm a programmer, not a like philosopher. So and then the questions went into the category of like, imagine you're given a team of very shitty developers. Well, I'm transcoding this obviously, but it was like developers that come late, go home early, and they don't commit enough, and they don't seem very motivated. I'm like, how would I end up with the team? Don't I like, because I would think that on lead position, I would get to be on the interviews and I would get to screen. No, no, no. You're like, in our company, you're pretty much like, they give you a team of whatever developers they have, and like, you have to. And then there was like, what if one developer is being offensive to the other? I'm like, I'm not the mother. What should I do? Like, slap him on his ass? Like, somebody else should be handling this. I'm not the guy who's got like has to handle personal relations. And but then it started to dawn on me, they are actually telling me how shitty their company is, and then my other friends confirmed it, that pretty much their whole policy revolved around like hiring cheap developers. Yeah, so that kind of was 2 hours just talking about like all the different things that can go wrong, and then I didn't take the offer, obviously. Um, yeah, it's a pity. I should make a video where I talk about all the good interviews I have. I kind of mentioned the one where there was no interview and I just get hired, but mm, yeah, there were a lot of nice companies they had, and actually the one that I'm working for right now is like was like really had a really nice interview and a really nice questions, stuff like that. Wow. All right. So it's like almost 4 a.m. in the morning, and I'm going to be uploading this to YouTube. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And sorry if I'm not joyful enough because not getting enough sleep. And see you next time. Bye bye.